Everyone believed him. I didn't interrupt. That's how I heard what he didn't mean to say. My brother leaned back in his chair like the conversation was already over. "She didn't do anything wrong," he said calmly. "You're reading into it." The room relaxed the moment he spoke. That's how it always goes when he steps in. He has that voice people trust. Steady, certain, final. My mother nodded. Someone reached for the breadbasket. Dinner resumed. I didn't say a word. Across the table, she smiled. Not relieved, confident. I watched her closely. The way her eyes didn't flinch when my brother defended her. The way she didn't need to explain herself. People don't look that comfortable when they're innocent. They look that comfortable when they think someone else has the room handled. My brother continued, almost kindly, "Let's not turn this into a thing. We're all tired." A familiar pressure settled in my chest, the kind that says, "Drop it," the kind that tells you silence will keep the peace. So I stayed quiet. My mother cleared her throat. "It's right," she said. "We don't need accusations tonight." Accusations? I hadn't made any. I folded my napkin once, then again. I wasn't here to argue, I was here to listen. She reached for her glass and added casually, "The conversation moved on like nothing had happened. That's what unsettled me the most." My brother laughed at something my uncle said, completely relaxed, like he hadn't just shut the whole thing down. He reached for his drink, comfortable in the role he'd taken, the reasonable one, the protector, the voice of logic. She stayed quiet beside him, swirling the ice in her glass, listening. People think silence means innocence. Sometimes it just means someone else is doing the talking for you. My mother leaned closer to me. "You look tired," she said softly. "You should rest. You've been under a lot of stress lately." Stress. Another way to explain away doubt. "I'm fine," I replied. My voice surprised even me, steady, almost light. My brother smiled like he'd won something. "See?" he said. "We're all good." All good. She finally spoke again, her tone casual. "I didn't even think it would become a discussion," she said. "It was such a small thing." Small. That word stayed with me, because the thing she was calling small was the same thing I'd spent the entire afternoon trying to trace, the same thing that had left a gap where there shouldn't have been one, a gap that didn't disappear just because people decided not to look at it. My brother nodded. "Exactly. It's being blown out of proportion." I watched him carefully now. I didn't look at him right away. That was important. When people think they've explained everything, they relax. They stop guarding their words. They assume the danger has passed. My brother leaned back again, satisfied. "We're circling the same thing," he said. "There's nothing new here." Nothing new. I glanced at my mother. She was nodding slowly, relieved. My aunt reached across the table to refill someone's glass. The room had moved on. Only I hadn't. Because the way my brother said temporary stayed with me. So did the way he said moved. Those weren't guesses. Those were answers. She looked at him then, just for a second. It was quick, almost invisible, but I caught it. The silent check-in, the look that says, "Did I say it right?" He gave the smallest nod back. I felt something settle in my chest. Not anger, not panic. Clarity. My brother turned to me again. "You understand now, right?" he asked gently. "It was never meant to be permanent." Permanent. There it was again. I finally looked up. "When did it happen?" I asked quietly. The table paused, not fully, but enough. He didn't hesitate. The mood at the table shifted without anyone saying it out loud. My brother noticed it first. He straightened in his chair, glanced around, then back at me. "We're overthinking this," he said, a little firmer now. "It's being made bigger than it is." Bigger. That word always comes out when people feel control slipping. My mother leaned forward. "Let's not do this here," she said quietly. "Tonight isn't the time." I nodded. "I agree." That surprised them. Agreement disarms people. It makes them careless. She exhaled in relief and smiled again, but it wasn't the same smile as before. It didn't reach her eyes this time. She kept her hands close to her glass, fingers tight, like she was holding herself still. My brother continued, trying to sound reasonable. "You didn't lose anything," he said. "It was moved, temporarily. You'll get it back." Get it back. I tilted my head slightly. "When?" He paused. Just a beat too long. "Soon," he said. "That was always the plan." Plan. I looked down at my plate. The words were lining up now, one after another, forming a story he hadn't realized he was telling. My aunt cleared her throat. "If it's coming back, then what's the issue?" Exactly, I thought. That's what they want this to be. No issue, no problem, just a misunderstanding. She finally spoke again, her voice softer now. "I never meant for this to cause tension," she said. "I assumed everyone was aware." Aware. My brother nodded immediately. "That's what I've been saying." I could feel it now. That quiet shift when people realize something isn't adding up, but they don't know where the mistake is yet. They look around, hoping someone else will speak first, hoping the moment will pass. I let it. Because when people feel watched, they talk carefully. When they feel safe, they talk too much. My brother tried to regain control. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. "This isn't productive," he said. "We're all family. There's no need to dissect every word." Dissect. I nodded once, slowly. "I agree." That confused him. Agreement wasn't what he expected. He was waiting for resistance, emotion, a reaction he could push back against. Instead, I stayed still. My mother exhaled. "Good," she said. "Then let's move on." Plates shifted again. Someone reached for dessert menus. The room tried to reset itself. She relaxed a little. Not fully, but enough to think the danger had passed. "That's all I wanted," she said softly. "No drama." Drama. I watched her fingers finally loosen around her glass. My brother smiled again, relieved. "See?" he said. "Nothing to fight about." I looked at him, calm. "You're right." He blinked. Because when you tell someone they're right too quickly, it feels wrong. Silence stretched. 10 seconds, then 15. People hate silence. It makes them fill it. I didn't rush it. That was the mistake people expect you to make, to jump in too fast, to accuse, to raise your voice. They prepare for that. They practice answers for that. I stayed calm. My brother was mid-sentence when I finally looked up. "Can I ask something?" I said, quietly. The room paused. Not froze, paused. My mother nodded, cautious. "Go ahead." I turned to my brother. Not to her, not to anyone else. "You said it was temporary," I began. "You said it was moved. You said it would be back by the end of the quarter." He smiled faintly, relieved. "Yes." I held his eyes. Which account did it come from? The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was sharp. He didn't answer right away. He looked at her first, just a flicker, then back at me. "The joint account," he said. The words landed heavier than I expected. My mother straightened. "Joint account?" He nodded too quickly. "Yes, that one." I didn't interrupt. I let the room catch up, because no one at that table was supposed to know that account still existed. I tilted my head slightly. "The one that was closed last year?" I asked. He opened his mouth. Closed it. She inhaled sharply beside him. The silence felt heavier now. Not uncomfortable, exposed. My brother was the first to move. He shifted in his chair, cleared his throat, then tried to smile again. "You're misunderstanding," he said. "That account detail doesn't change the bigger picture." Bigger picture. People say that when the small details betray them. My mother looked confused. then concerned. "You said it was closed," she said slowly, turning to him. "Why would it be reopened?" He hesitated. "I just assumed—" "Assumed," she repeated. I stayed quiet, because now the questions weren't coming from me. My aunt leaned forward. "If it was reopened recently," she said, "how did anyone know to touch it?" No one answered her. She finally looked up at me, her voice careful. "Are you saying someone accessed it without permission?" I nodded once. "I'm saying someone knew exactly where to look." My brother's jaw tightened. "This is getting out of hand." But his voice didn't carry anymore. The room had shifted. You could feel it, that moment when people stop defending and start recalculating, when certainty drains out of a conversation and leaves nothing but facts behind. She still hadn't said a word. Her hands were folded now, tight, knuckles pale. The confidence she'd worn earlier was gone, replaced by something smaller, watchful. No one rushed to end dinner after that. They just sat there, suspended in the truth they hadn't planned for. My brother stared at his plate, jaw tight, saying nothing. The confidence he'd carried all evening was gone. He wasn't defending anymore. He wasn't explaining. He was waiting. And that told everyone more than words ever could. My mother was the first to stand. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't accuse. She just said, "We'll talk about this later," and began clearing plates that didn't need clearing. That was her way of admitting something was wrong. I gathered my bag slowly. No rush, no drama. My brother finally looked up. "You didn't have to do this," he said quietly. I met his eyes. "I didn't," I replied. "I waited." He swallowed. "You could have come to me." "I did," I said. "Tonight." He looked away. She hadn't spoken in a long time. When she finally did, her voice was small. "I thought it was handled," she said. I nodded. So did I, until I checked.